The year is 2015. World leaders gather in Paris, their mission to combat the growing threat of climate change. The result, the landmark Paris Agreement. This pact, signed by nearly 200 nations, held immense promise. Its central aim? To limit global warming to well below 2 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels, preferably to 1.5 degrees Celsius. The goal was ambitious but achievable, requiring a unified global effort to curb greenhouse gas emissions. Fast forward to 2025. The latest scientific findings paint a grim picture. Our window of opportunity to meet the Paris Agreement's ambitious goals is rapidly closing. The 1.5 degree threshold, once a target, is now a stark warning. The consequences of inaction are no longer distant threats. They are becoming our present reality. The choices we make today will determine the fate of our planet. Recent studies published in the prestigious journal Nature Climate Change send shockwaves through the scientific community. Their findings are as clear as they are concerning. We are on the brink of breaching the critical 1.5 degrees Celsius warming limit set by the Paris Agreement. One study estimates a 60 to 80% likelihood that this critical threshold has already been crossed. Another independent study corroborates these findings. These studies, conducted by leading climate scientists, serve as a stark reminder of the urgency of the climate crisis. The message is clear. The time for complacency is long gone. The time for immediate and decisive action is now. The year 2024 etched its place in history for all the wrong reasons. It marked the first time a calendar year breached the 1.5 degrees Celsius warming threshold. For 12 consecutive months, global temperatures soared to unprecedented levels. The consequences of this warming were felt worldwide. Heat waves, more intense and frequent, scorched continents, resulting in widespread wildfires, droughts, and heat-related illnesses. Coastal communities grappled with rising sea levels, while extreme weather events wreaked havoc on communities and ecosystems. Scientists warn that if these elevated temperatures persist, it would confirm with virtual certainty that the Paris Agreement's 1.5 degree goal has been missed. Section 4. Unveiling the science, how researchers arrived at these dire conclusions. The recent studies confirming the breach of the 1.5 degrees Celsius warming limit employed rigorous scientific methodologies. One study utilized a probabilistic approach, analyzing temperature data from multiple sources. The second study relied on sophisticated climate models, simulating various warming scenarios. Both studies, independent in their approaches, converged on the same alarming conclusion. The 1.5 degrees Celsius warming limit is no longer a distant threat, but a present reality. The scientific evidence is irrefutable, underscoring the need for immediate and decisive action to mitigate the worst impacts of climate change. Section 5. A world on fire. The devastating repercussions of surpassing 2 degrees Celsius. While breaching the 1.5 degrees Celsius warming limit is a cause for serious concern, surpassing 2 degrees Celsius would unleash a cascade of catastrophic and potentially irreversible consequences. Renowned climate scientist James Hansen warns that global warming could exceed 2 degrees Celsius in the coming decades. He attributes this accelerated warming to the decline in shipping pollution, which has masked the full extent of global warming. Surpassing 2 degrees Celsius would trigger a domino effect of devastating consequences. Ice sheets in Greenland and Antarctica would melt at an accelerated rate, causing sea levels to rise dramatically and displacing millions of people. Extreme weather events would become more frequent and intense, leading to widespread devastation and loss of life. The very fabric of our planet, its climate and its ecosystems, would be irrevocably altered, jeopardizing the survival of countless species, including our own. Section 6. A call to arms. The urgent need for collective climate action. The scientific evidence is irrefutable. We are on the precipice of a climate catastrophe. The breach of the 1.5 degrees Celsius warming limit is a stark reminder of the urgency of the situation and the need for immediate collective action. The primary culprit behind climate change is the excessive release of greenhouse gases, primarily carbon dioxide, into the atmosphere. To avert the worst impacts of climate change, we must drastically reduce our reliance on fossil fuels and transition to cleaner, more sustainable energy sources. Investing in renewable energy technologies such as solar, wind, and geothermal is essential in decarbonizing our energy sector. Furthermore, protecting and restoring our forests is paramount. Addressing climate change is not just the responsibility of governments and policymakers. It requires a collective effort from every individual. Simple changes in our daily lives, such as reducing energy consumption, opting for public transportation, and adopting a more sustainable lifestyle, can make a tangible difference. Section 7. Beyond 1.5 degrees, sustaining hope and action in the face of adversity. The realization that we are likely to surpass the 1.5 degrees Celsius warming limit can be disheartening. However, it is crucial to remember that this is not a reason to despair, but a call to redouble our efforts in the fight against climate change. Surpassing 1.5 degrees Celsius does not signify defeat. It underscores the urgency of intensifying our efforts to prevent even more catastrophic warming scenarios. Every fraction of a degree matters. Limiting warming to 1.6 degrees is still significantly better than 1.7 degrees. The future of our planet depends on the choices we make today. Let us choose action over apathy, hope over despair, and a commitment to safeguarding our planet for generations to come.